Sometimes the best revenge is being missed. They didn't even have the decency to say it to my face. 20 years of loyalty. 20 years of showing up early, staying late, saving accounts that lazy execs nearly lost. I'd built entire client portfolios with nothing but grit and late-night coffees. And in the end, it came down to an email. Subject: Organizational restructuring. Sarah, we regret to inform you that due to cost-cutting measures, I must have read it 3 times before it really sank in. That was it. No meeting, no handshake, just a clinical little paragraph from Colin Barnes, the shiny new director of operations who'd been in the building all of 6 months. The same Colin who once asked me what Q3 variance meant in front of the entire team. And now he was deciding I was a redundancy? I didn't cry. I didn't even breathe for a second. I just sat there at my desk staring at my monitor as if I'd slipped into a dream I couldn't wake up from. After 20 years, I got to keep my coffee mug, a framed thank you note from one of my clients, and a small cardboard box of silence. Walked out without saying goodbye. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't trust my voice not to crack. Not yet. The next few days were a blur. I didn't tell anyone, not even Max, my son. What would I say? That his mom, the one who used to handle million-dollar contracts like grocery lists, had been tossed aside like expired toner? I kept replaying it in my head, what I missed, where I slipped. But I hadn't slipped. That was the cruelest part. My last 2 proposals had pulled in $500,000 in renewals. My calendar was stacked with client meetings I'd set up myself. I wasn't let go because I failed. I was let go because I was expensive and quiet. They replaced me with Gwen. Sweet, eager Gwen, 27, and still asking me to explain what gross margin meant last month. She didn't even have the clearance to handle half the accounts I managed. But she was cheap, and she smiled a lot in meetings. I wasn't mad at her. I was mad at them. At a company that forgot who kept the lights on while they chased ping-pong tables and flashy slogans. But something shifted on day 4. That morning, as I sat sipping lukewarm tea in my kitchen, I got an email. Hi, Sarah. Just saw the news. Tell me this is temporary. We're due to renew our contract, and frankly, I don't trust anyone else with it. Can we meet? Jonathan Grant, and Lowe. Legal my heart skipped. Jonathan was one of Rainmore's legacy clients. The kind that didn't shop around. The kind I had personally saved 3 times from switching to another agency. Before I could even type a reply, another message popped up. Sarah? Heard what happened. Honestly, I'm shocked. I've told my board we're pausing all negotiations until I speak to you directly. Let me know your availability. Elise Cho, Midtown Educational Group within a few hours. 5 more emails followed. All from clients. All wanting to meet, not with Rainmore, but with me. It was the first time I realized they hadn't fired a number. They'd fired a reputation. Saturday morning, I met Elise at a cafe downtown. She was already waiting, a furrow in her brow and fire in her tone. I'm not saying this as a friend, she began. I'm saying this as a professional. If you're not part of our contract renewal, it's dead. I smiled faintly. I appreciate that, but no, she cut in, leaning forward. You need to hear this. You are the value, not Rainmore. You've carried them for years and never taken credit for it. I looked down at my coffee. I didn't know what to say. Maybe because a small, stubborn part of me still wanted someone at that office to realize what they'd lost. But Elise was right. The only reason those clients stayed was me. You should consult, she said simply. Start your own firm. Hell, I'd sign today. My fingers curled around the coffee cup. Something began to stir inside me, something I hadn't felt since my early days in the industry. Hunger, purpose, fire. That night, I couldn't sleep. I pulled out my old resume not because I needed it, but because I needed to remind myself who the hell I was. I opened a blank Word doc. Titled it, Ellison Strategy Group. It was time to stop waiting for them to see my worth. It was time to make them regret forgetting it. The day I bought the domain ellisonstrategy.com, I swear I heard a click deep inside me. Like a switch had flipped. I didn't announce anything publicly. Not yet. I wasn't doing this for likes or applause. I was doing this for me. For every ignored contribution, every stolen credit, every polite smile I gave while they handed my ideas to someone else. Rainmore thought they got rid of me. What they didn't know was I was still very much in play. I worked in silence. During the day, I met with old clients in quiet cafes and cozy corners of hotel lounges. I didn't wear power suits. I wore trust. I wore history. These people had seen me deliver when it mattered. I didn't need a pitch deck. I had proof. By the end of 2 weeks, 6 of Rainmore's top clients had committed to transitioning with me. All without fanfare. All off the books. Elise helped me file the LLC. Jonathan connected me with a low-cost compliance lawyer. Even Gwen, yes, Gwen, called me privately one night, breath trembling. Sarah, I didn't know they were planning to push you out. I'm sorry, and I think they're in over their heads. I told her it wasn't her fault. But when she hesitated and said, they've been forwarding me your old files. I don't understand half of them. I smiled bitterly into the receiver. It was happening. Colin sent me an email that Friday. Hi, Sarah, just checking in. A few clients mentioned you in recent meetings. All good, I hope? Just trying to keep continuity. Smooth. Colin Barnes, I stared at the message, tempted to ignore it. But something in me curled with satisfaction. So I replied, Hi, Colin. Thanks for reaching out. I've begun consulting privately. If clients choose to reach out to me, I trust they'll do so respectfully and professionally. Wishing you smooth continuity. Sarah Ellison. I could picture him reading it, lips twitching, eyes narrowing. He never saw me as a threat, just a middle-aged woman in flats who didn't talk much during lunch breaks. He forgot that I knew where all the bones were buried. One of the things they really underestimated? My memory. Rainmore had internal metrics, internal audits, really, that I used to clean up more times than I could count. Overbilling, performance inflation, client satisfaction data that got polished before it hit the board. I'd buried most of it out of loyalty. But now? Now I archived it, not to blackmail. No, I'm not that kind of person. But I made sure to have receipts for everything. Just in case Colin tried to smear my name if word started spreading that half his biggest clients had left with me. I didn't plan to use them. I just wanted him to know that I could. The moment it all truly clicked into place came at 7:12 a.m. on a cold Monday morning. I got a call from a blocked number. I hesitated before picking up. Sarah Ellison? Yes. This is Mariah from Nightwell Investments. We're looking for a new strategy partner. Someone who doesn't operate like the usual stuffy agencies. A client of yours referred us. Nightwell was worth millions. I leaned back in my chair, stunned. Who referred you, if I may ask? Elise Cho, she said. She said, and I quote, Sarah Ellison is the smartest person in the room and the most dangerous one to underestimate. I had to cover my mouth to keep from laughing. By the time the call ended, I had scheduled a preliminary review, a terms discussion, and they'd already asked for my W-9, no public post, no marketing, just reputation, and it was spreading like wildfire. 2 weeks later, I heard through Gwen that Colin was holding emergency restructuring meetings. 2 account managers had quit. No notice, just walked out. One of them, I later found out, left a note that said, if Sarah had been treated right, I wouldn't be leaving. Think about that. I never told anyone to follow me. I didn't need to. The vacuum was speaking louder than any speech I could give. Rainmore was starting to panic. And I hadn't even launched publicly yet. I didn't want revenge. Not in the beginning, but the deeper I went, the more I realized. I wasn't just building a business. I was digging an escape tunnel for every woman like me who had been used up, overlooked, and quietly discarded the moment she became inconvenient. The moment I launched the official website, Ellison Strategy in calm navy serif against a soft white background, I hit publish with fingers that trembled. Not from fear, from power. I posted a single update on LinkedIn. After 11 incredible years building brands and strategies from behind the curtain, I've stepped into my own light. Ellison Strategy is now live. For leaders who want more than lip service and buzzwords, let's build something that lasts. Sarah Ellison, no hashtags, no aggressive call to action, just truth. Within 2 hours, I had 77 DMs. 2 were from old Rainmore clients, 5 were from current employees, and one was from Colin. His message was short. Nice launch, very polished. Curious timing, though. Colin Barnes. I stared at his words. Curious timing? He meant coincidental, but what he really meant was strategic. And that scared him. Because for the first time in a decade, he didn't know what I was going to do next. So I replied, "Thank you." My timing, like my strategy, is always intentional. Sarah Ellison, I didn't owe him more than that. Not anymore. A week later, Gwen texted me at 9:47 p.m. You might want to check Rainmore's board update tomorrow. It's going to be loud. I smiled and poured myself a glass of wine. At 6 a.m., I was sitting on my couch with my laptop when the headlines started popping up on LinkedIn. Rainmore Strategy Group announces leadership restructure amid client exodus. The subhead told the real story. Unconfirmed sources suggest a wave of clients have defected following the abrupt departure of former lead strategist Sarah Ellison. They didn't mention me by name again, but I was there, between the lines. In the quiet spaces, I wasn't bitter. I was just done being silent. 3 months later, I walked into a conference I used to only attend as a name tag behind someone else's company. This time my badge read, Sarah Ellison, founder Ellison Strategy. People looked twice. A woman stopped me near the espresso bar. Wait, were you at Rainmore? I nodded, cautious. She leaned in. My CMO said to meet you. She said you're the real reason their turnaround happened last year. I smiled, small but sharp. I was there, but no one noticed. Well, she said, offering her hand, they notice now. Sometimes I think back to the moment I handed Colin my resignation letter. I remember how small he looked then, trying to decipher my calmness, trying to figure out where the catch was. There wasn't one. Just a woman who'd decided her time in the shadows was over. They didn't see it coming. But I did. And that's why I won.